Welcome back to Coding to Christmas Challenge 9. Today's was a slightly longer, more complicated puzzle. So let's jump straight in and take a look at how we answer it. So the first part of the question here is that Santa has arrived at KPMG and needs to know how many people are working. The amount of people per floor is a random number between 30 and 180, and there are 13 floors. So we need to create some sort of a loop that will go over each of those 13 floors and then generate that random number. So the first thing that we need to do whenever we're using the random module is to import it. So at the top there, we'll just write import random. Underneath this, we're then just going to create a variable. In this case, let's call it total people, and we're going to set that to 0. So the reason why we're setting that to 0 is because currently we've got a count of 0 for the number of people, and then we'll loop through each of the floors and then sort of add on the number of people that are on that floor. So the way that you've learned to do this, we can use a for loop. So we can just say for x in the range and then the number of floors. So how many floors? There are 13 floors. So this will allow us to loop through, and then we can just say, let's say num equals random.randint. So again, we're using one of the functions that the random module gives us, which is randint, which will give us a random number, and then the values that we put in are between 30 and 180. So each time this for loop loops through, we'll be getting a random value between 30 and 180, and then we're just going to add that on to our total people. I'm going to use the shorthand way of adding the value on here. So plus equals is the same as saying total underscore people equals total underscore people plus the number. So it just adds that value on. So that code there, that will loop through, and then finally we can just have a print statement. So there are X number of people. So we'll concatenate that. It's currently an integer. So we will cast it to be a string. Total people. So there are such and such number of people. So we've written a bit of our code there. So I'll press the play button and we'll get an idea of the results. So you can see now we've got a result here. There are 1,286. Each time that you run that, there will be a different number of people. So you can see every time I run this program, we get a slightly different set of number of people. So that's good. Obviously, it changes the number of people in the office. So the next part of the question, Santa has only brought 10 different types of presents. We may want to randomly assign them using a list. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a list of the presents. So again, let's create a variable called presents. We're going to create a list now. So list square brackets and then each of the values. So let's just say candy, a bauble. We're going to get into some other presents, a pencil, a hat. What else is sort of Christmassy? A scarf. People might want an umbrella. Everyone loves a water bottle. What else have we got? A notepad. Perhaps we'll give someone some coal as a gift, and a brownie. So I think I've got a number of different presents there. We're going to loop through and obviously select a random one. So in order now to assign the presents that we've got inside of this list, we're going to use another for loop. So we can say for x in, once again, the range, and this time from 1 to the number of people. So the total underscore people variable, that's the number of people that we need to give gifts to. And then inside of this for loop, each time it runs for each person, we want to select a random gift. So we're going to say that present equals, and now we're going to use another function within the random module, which is random.choice, and that will give you a random value from a list. So the variable presents, the plural form, currently holds that list. So now when this line of code runs, will get a unique present, or a random present each time stored in the variable called present. And then finally, we just sort of need to print out that message to people. So we'll just say that person, we can say that just there x. So x is currently an integer because that's what it is in this range as a for loop. So we're going to cast that to be a string. So this will say person1, and then we'll concatenate. Another is getting, and then we'll put on our present at the end. So here we're going to loop through each time from the number 1 to the total number of people that are currently in the office. We're then going to generate a random present out of the list above, and then we're just going to print out the message that person 1 is getting, and then the name of their present. So let's run that again. We should see a lot of output on the right hand side if this is working. It looks to be taking some time. Oops, is this going to work? So when this works, the code all looks fine here. I think the just trinket here is having a little bit of a problem keeping up with the number of people. So there we go, the output is finally printed out. So you see here, obviously it's printed out 1,083 different presents. You'll see here that some people get Notepad next to each other, but it is a completely random choice of all of the different presents that we've got. So that is the complete answer for today's question for challenge 9. And once again, we look forward to seeing you at 9 a.m. on the next day for challenge 10. So we'll see you then. Bye.